Okay, so we are all absolutely drowning in AI hype, right? But what if we could just cut through all that noise, ignore the buzzwords, and see what's actually working? That's what we're going to do today. We're going to look at how generative AI is already delivering real, tangible, measurable value for businesses. Not tomorrow, not next year, but right now.
And yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? We hear all these huge words, transformation, revolution, but what does that actually look like on the ground? What does it mean for a company on a regular Tuesday afternoon? That's what we're here to figure out.
Look, to get real answers, you need real data. It's that simple. And that's why this explainer is built on something pretty solid. An analysis of over 1,001 real-world AI use cases from some of the world's biggest companies. So what you're about to hear, it's not just speculation. It's a real snapshot of what's happening out there right now.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to introduce this really cool idea of your new digital coworkers. Then we'll dive into the customer experience agent and see how it's changing customer service. After that, we'll look at the employee productivity agent and how it's helping out teams on the inside. Then we'll tackle the super powerful data and insights agent. And finally, we'll wrap it all up by asking the big one, what does all this mean for the future of your work?
Okay, so Section 1. To really get a handle on how AI is being used in business, you got to stop thinking of it as this one big mysterious thing. It's not. The best way to think about it is, well, it's like you're hiring a team of new digital coworkers, and each one has a very, very specific job to do.
And that's exactly where this term AI agent comes in. It's just a fancy way of saying a specialized AI that's designed to do one specific job and do it incredibly well. The goal here isn't to replace a person. It's about adding a super efficient, super focused digital specialist to your team. And this AI team, it's got a lot of different specialists. You've got agents for customer service, for employee productivity, for creative stuff, for coding, data analysis, even security, the whole shebang. But for today, we're going to zero in on the big three, the ones creating the most value, like right now. And that's the customer, employee, and data agents. All right, first up, the customer experience agent. And I'm willing to bet you've already interacted with one of these, maybe without even realizing it. Their whole job is to completely shake up how a company talks to you, the customer.
I mean, we all know the pain of the old way, right? You're stuck on hold, listening to terrible music, getting bounced from department to department, only to get some generic, unhelpful answer. Ugh. The AI way is the polar opposite. It's instant, it's 24/7, and it's actually personalized to you.
So let's look at a real example. A German bank, Commerzbank. They built an AI chatbot, and it now handles over 2 million chats. But here's the crazy part. Get this. It successfully resolves 70% of all customer questions without a human ever needing to step in. 70%. That's not just a small improvement. That is a monumental shift in how they operate. And it's not just about chatbots replacing calls. It's also about making the human agents even better. Take a look at Definity or Best Buy. They're using AI to summarize calls in real time, which cuts down call times. It can also be a direct sales tool. Omoda used an AI fashion stylist that boosted their conversion rate by 2.5 times. And Toolstation saw a 5.5% jump in revenue just from an AI-powered search. The bottom line here is that in every single one of these cases, the value is direct, it's clear, and you can measure it. Okay, so we've seen how AI is changing the customer side of things. But what about inside the company? How is it supporting the actual employees? Well, that brings us to our second agent, the employee productivity agent. And its whole mission is to free humans up from the tedious stuff. You know, this is a problem every company faces. You hire these brilliant, highly skilled people, and then they get absolutely buried in repetitive, low-value work. We're talking document analysis, data entry, report generation, the boring stuff. It's a huge drain, not just on productivity, but on morale too. And the productivity leap here is just profound. Check this out. A legal tech firm, Inspira, made its document analysis 80% faster. 80. And Suzano, a pulp manufacturer, cut the time it takes to get answers from their data by 95%. How? By just letting employees ask questions in plain English. I mean, these are not small tweaks. This is completely transforming how work gets done. And the stories just keep piling up. United Wholesale Mortgage, they doubled the productivity of their underwriters in just 9 months. At Mark Cuban's Cost Plus Drugs, The average employee is saving 5 hours every single week. But this one might be the most incredible. Doctors at Kyoto University Hospital are saving 3 to 4 hours a day on paperwork. Think about that. What could a doctor do with an extra 3 or 4 hours back in their day? It's just staggering.
Okay, on to our third and final agent. And this one tackles what might be the biggest challenge for almost any modern company: data. Businesses are literally drowning in information, but most of it just sits there, unused. The job of the data and insights agent is to change that, to turn all that raw data into genuinely smart decisions.
And to really get this, you have to understand the mind-boggling scale we're talking about. Look at a company like Geotab. They're analyzing billions of data points every single day. Or Circ, processing 100,000 transactions every second. This is a fire hose of information that it's physically impossible for any human brain or even a team of humans to keep up with.
So how does the AI actually turn all that data into something useful? Well, it breaks down into a few steps. First, it's about speed. Search can now forecast millions in revenue in just 2 minutes. Then it's about automating complexity. An insurance company, Hiscox, can quote super complex policies in minutes, a process that used to take days. And finally, it's about making data easy to use. Gordon Food Services lets any employee just ask their data a question in plain English and get an answer right away. No more waiting for a report. And if you need just one single, absolutely jaw-dropping example of the power of a data agent, this is it. Lloyd's Banking Group. They took a critical part of getting a mortgage, verifying your income, and they cut the time it takes from days down to seconds. Days to seconds. That's incredible. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second and pull all of this together. We've seen these AI agents in action, right? Transforming customer service, boosting employee productivity, making sense of massive data. So what's the big takeaway here? What's the pattern? When you look across all of these 1,000 examples, a few key patterns just jump out. First, you have intelligent automation of all that tedious work. Second, you have hyper-personalization, but done at a massive scale. And third, you get these predictive insights from incredibly complex data that before was basically untouchable.
And that really brings us to the final big question. If these specialized AI agents are truly becoming our new digital coworkers, if they're handling the repetitive stuff, the super complex stuff, and the massive scale stuff, well, that completely changes the nature of our jobs. So the question isn't really, is AI coming for my job? The much more interesting question is this: what is your new, more strategic, more valuable role going to be on a team that now includes AI?